Shi Chen traveled across different continents and obtained the inheritance of the Wild Emperor. Just when he thought he was about to rule for eternity, he realized that this was Douluo Continent. A place where one can only exert a little force, but it will be destroyed because it cannot withstand this force. Fortunately, the system awakened and gave him a solution. As long as you complete the hidden tasks of the system and improve your own inheritance, you can suppress your own strength and leave this damn place. However, in the process of completing the tasks, Shi Chen gradually realized that these tasks were becoming increasingly unorthodox. Hidden task. Teach the way to 1,000 snows, reward the supreme bone. Hidden task. Destroy Tang men, snatch the blue-silver emperor, and reward the heavenly immortal tree. Hidden task. Wilderness comes, kill Haotian, reward true dragon treasure technique. Years later, Shi Chen looked back at his past and felt 1,000 emotions in his heart. I am already invincible, but in this life, I am like walking on thin ice. Only in the wind, flowers, snow, and moon can I dare to exert all my strength and show off my grandeur. P.S. The protagonist only gains inheritance, not the Emperor of the Wild. Keywords of the novel. Inheriting the Wilderness Emperor, tell me this is Douluo will pop up. Inheriting the Wilderness Emperor, tell me this is Douluo TXT complete collection download. Inheriting the Wilderness Emperor, tell me this is Douluo's latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Descending to a different world and inheriting the Emperor of the Wilderness. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Descending to a different world and inheriting the Emperor of the Wilderness, I wandered back to the starting point, and at the last moment, I could only be like when I was a child, alone. No. Little one, you. Don't die. Boom. A thunderbolt suddenly broke through the silent night sky. Ah. In front of the computer screen, Shi Chen felt a darkness in front of him and immediately lost all consciousness. I don't know how long it has been. At the bottom of a dimly damp cliff, lying on the rocks, Shi Chen slowly opened his eyes. He felt unbearable pain all over his body, and his bones seemed to be broken. Where is this? Does watching an anime have to endure such terrifying causality? Ho-hot. At this moment, a rough gasping sound suddenly entered Shi Chen's ear. He quickly turned his head to look, and in front of him, about 50 meters away, a colorful beast with sharp horns on its head, resembling a tiger, was slowly approaching him. Is this a dream? Shi Chen muttered to himself, but the intense pain on his body quickly made him sober again. No, this is not a dream. I seem to have traveled through time, and this is no longer a blue star. Thinking of this, Shi Chen's heart pounded for a moment. Subconsciously, he wanted to escape, but in reality, he couldn't even stand up. He was injured too badly. It's over, the Emperor of the Wild has Lu Mama to save me, but who will save me? Ding! Congratulations on the arrival of the host on the other continent, rewarding the inheritance of the Wild Emperor. In an instant, before Shi Chen could react, a terrifying and mysterious force suddenly came from the void of the dome and entered his body, quickly merging. Crouching slot. I actually have a system, and at the beginning, I directly rewarded the inheritance of the Wild Emperor. Aren't I going to be invincible? Shi Chen was ecstatic in his heart, and the fear he had just experienced swept away. As for the intense pain on his body, it had also disappeared at this moment. Shi Chen stood up valiantly and hooked his fingers at the large, tiger-like monster, saying, "Come here." The beast has a strong sense of danger. It seemed to sense the danger signal on Shi Chen's body, paused for a moment, and a hint of fear appeared in its eyes. It took a few steps back and suddenly turned around to escape. Hey sleeper, don't run away. Shi Chen is still thinking of trying this guy out. At this moment, a sharp pain suddenly hit Shi Chen's head, which lasted for 7 or 8 seconds. A strange memory then surfaced in his mind. Master, didn't you say there are no useless martial souls, only useless soul masters? Then why don't you accept me as an apprentice? I did say that, but your martial soul is the most useless and useless straw, you know. Why do you take Tang San? Isn't he a useless blue-silver grass? He's different from you. Shi Chen was confused. Master. Tang San. Is this the Douluo Continent? But what I have inherited is the autocratic and timeless emperor of the wilderness. System, did you make a mistake? I, as a galactic king, have descended into the scrap metal world. This joke is quite exaggerated. That's right, this world is the Douluo Continent, but the inheritance obtained by the host from the Wild Emperor is only a cultivation inheritance, not including treasures, and martial arts. These things need to be obtained by the host by completing hidden tasks. I'll ask you, if I punch it down, will this world be destroyed because it can't bear it? You should know that when the Emperor of Wilderness was young, he had a single arm of 100,000 pounds of strength, while Tang Sanqing's test was only to lift a sea god trident that weighed 108,000 pounds. The power system gap between these two worlds is like a heavenly abyss. It is inevitable, will I die then? Yes, but as long as the host does not actively cast mana and attack, the world will not be destroyed. If the host wants to leave here, they only need to improve all the inheritance of the Wild Emperor. The meaning is, I am invincible, but I cannot take action, otherwise I will kill myself. This is a fucking system. I have set foot on the invincible path, but I cannot rule for eternity like the Emperor of the Wild. So what is the meaning of such a life? I hate this world, I want to smash it. Ding. Reissue 9 ancient purple gold soul rings, each of which can simultaneously suppress the power of a treasure, or skill in battle, without worrying about destroying the world. Shi Chen put down his fist and suddenly realized that what he disliked was not this world, but some people in this world. For example, Tang San, a hypocrite full of benevolence and righteousness, Yu Shaojiang, a despicable villain, Qian Xuanji, Tang Hao, a rebellious disciple of the sect, and so on. Hee, your nightmare is about to come. When chasing Douluo Continent in the Blue Star, Shi Chen had too many emotions in his heart that were difficult to calm. Bibi Dong, who was trapped in the Chamber of Secrets Douluo, Qian Renxue after the Twin Gods' War, possessed from Lonely Sea God Island, Ian, who was brutally sacrificed, Tang Yuehua, who was locked in the prison of the Heavenly Dou royal family, and so on. Since fate has brought me here, let me personally make up for these regrets. However, before that, Shi Chen needs to go to Shrek Academy first. He wants the humiliation he has suffered to be repaid 100 times by that despicable person, Yu Shaojiang. A despicable person, indeed, only does the deeds of petty people. Shrek, Yu Shaojiang. Shi Chen's figure transformed into a golden light, sweeping away in the sky. In a small village south of Soto in the Kingdom of Barak. Shrek College. Although this college is not as famous as Jianshui College and Kamikaze College, due to its excellent graduates and Dean Fran's slogan of only accepting monsters, not ordinary people, Shrek College enjoys a certain reputation in the Soul Master world. So there are still quite a few students coming to participate in the selection today. Not long after, a handsome young man wearing a tattered green shirt walked towards the crowd. His appearance quickly caught the attention and discussion of everyone. Oh, isn't this the innate full soul power, the great genius of Shi Chen who breaks through the grass with useless martial souls? The Shrek Academy accepts monsters, not waste. This Shi Chen is really shameless, he even came. People value self-awareness. Shi Chen, this useless person, is simply stubborn and ineffective. Don't be angry, we'll kill them later. Shi Chen muttered to himself, ignoring the ridicule of these people, and pushed through the crowd straight towards Shrek Academy. A group of ants is nothing more. After I clean up Yu Shaojiang, I will let you know that mocking me, Shi Chen, will come at the cost of my life. Inheriting the Huangtian Emperor, he can be killed to the heavens and earth, and no one dares to be honored. If he is mocked by a few ants and does not take action to kill him, is he still worthy of living? Shi Chen, why are you here again? The dean has already said that we Shrek will not accept you. A young man dressed in a blue robe, with a slender figure and deep eyes, walked towards him with a hint of disdain in his tone. Tang-san. It's really a narrow path for enemies. Shi Chen narrowed his eyes slightly, and his original resentment towards Tang-san was not much less than that of Yu Xiaojiang. Secondly, personally, Shi Chen also hates this hypocrite who is full of benevolence, righteousness, and morality. P.S. New book set sale, seeking recommended tickets, positive reviews, collectibles, gifts, monthly passes. Group 755850518, end of this chapter. 2, Chapter 2. Severe injury to Tang-san, rewarding the Heavenly Emperor for suppression. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Serious injury to Tang-san, rewarding the Heavenly Emperor for suppressing his power. Hey, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and leave here, otherwise I'll have to drive people away. Tang-san issued a warning that he had a bad impression of Shi Chen, who had no potential, was arrogant, and liked to persist in fighting. Drive me away. Just rely on you, a useless person like your teacher. Hee hee. Shi Chen sneered and shook his head in mockery. If it weren't for worrying about the destruction of this world, Shi Chen had already taken action and cruelly stepped on Tang-san, this useless person. Shi Chen, what the teacher said is indeed true. You are narrow-minded and will seek revenge. Even if you are accepted as a disciple, it will still be a disaster in the future. Tang-san, we retorted. As a person of 2 generations, Tang-san's mentality has become stable like an old dog, and naturally he will not be provoked by Shi Chen's words. Shi Chen laughed instead of getting angry and said, Yu Xiaojiang is just a useless person fishing for fame and reputation. He deserves to evaluate me. It's ridiculous. The argument between the two quickly attracted onlookers outside. Seeing that the situation was not right, Tang-san's face darkened and he threatened, this is Shrek Academy. If you continue to insult my teacher here, don't blame me for being impolite. Dealing with a guy with only 15 levels of soul power and a mediocre martial soul, Tang-san is confident that he can hang and beat him. What kind of rude gesture do you want? If you have the ability, come and hit me, idiot. Shi Chen's tone was contemptuous and provocative. Having inherited the power of the Wild Emperor, his physical body is not something that ants like Tang-san can shake. Secondly, he wants to see if he can brush a hidden task from Tang-san. After listening, a sinister smile appeared on Tang-san's face. He looked at everyone and said, everyone has seen it. It's this guy who made me hit him. I've never seen such a request in my life. Before he could finish speaking, Tang-san's body suddenly moved, his speed skyrocketed, and he punched Shi Chen. He is not worried about the consequences, because no one cares about the lives of clowns like Shi Chen. However, just as everyone believed that Shi Chen would be severely punished by Tang-san, a bizarre scene occurred. Just as Tang-san's terrifying punch was less than half a meter away from Shi Chen, a golden light suddenly flashed from Shi Chen's body, instantly shaking Tang-san away and shattering a stone wall 100 meters away. How could this be possible? How did he do it? When did Shi Chen, this useless person, become so strong? This waste must have relied on some treasure. In addition to everyone's astonishment, the voices of discussion also rang out. Almost no one believes that this is Shi Chen's true strength. A guy with innate soul power of level 1 and a mediocre martial soul, how could he have such terrifying strength at this age? Undoubtedly, it is the inheritance of the Emperor of Wilderness, and its defense is so terrifying. Shi Chen sighed in his heart. It seems that even without taking action, relying solely on defense, one can still dominate this continent. Ding! At this point, the system rang. Congratulations to the host for completing the N.class hidden task. seriously injuring the pseudo-gentleman Tang San. Reward. Heavenly Emperor's oppression. Heavenly Emperor's prestige. The power of the Great Way, a single breath can suppress eternity and slaughter the common people. Finally, there is a first-hand means to not be afraid of destroying the world. Shi Chen incorporated it into his first soul ring. Brother. The other woman, upon hearing the commotion, the Shrek crowd quickly rushed out and ran over to see Tang San lying on the collapsed wall. Brother, what's wrong with you? Don't scare me. Xiao Wu sat on the ground and picked up Tang San. Yu Xiaojiang and others stood on the side with a solemn expression on their faces. At this moment, Tang San has already passed out. Shi Chen's defense backlash is something that a useless person like him can withstand. Zhao Wuji walked over and squatted down, sniffed Tang San's breath, and then breathed a sigh of relief. It's okay, just fainted. After speaking, Zhao Wuji stood up and turned to walk towards the crowd watching the commotion, his face a bit gloomy. Who is so bold as to dare to hurt my Shrek student here? If you have the courage to hurt someone, stand up for me. After a moment of silence, no one stood up until Shi Chen's voice sounded. Me. What? You. Zhao Wuji hesitated for a moment and looked at the guy he had just ignored. With this useless guy, could he knock Tang San unconscious? Kid, don't joke anymore. With your strength, you don't even have the qualification to injure Tang San, let alone knock him out. Li Yusong shook his head and exposed it. What weight does Shi Chen weigh? Can he not be clear about it? Oh, I see you're just a persistent thief trying to catch the master's attention, Dai Mubai sneered and agreed. Yu Xiaojiang shook his head helplessly. Shi Chen, who had ulterior motives, was really haunted. Did you see the murderer who just hurt someone? Zhao Wuji asked in a deep voice. Upon hearing this, everyone looked at Shi Chen in unison. Someone stuttered and said, yes. It's Shi Chen, it's him. Impossible, he's useless. How could he possibly have hurt Tang San? Zhao Wuji still didn't believe it, and he even suspected that the guy speaking was an accomplice of the murderer. Zhao Wuji, this guy, dares to ignore me. Shi Chen couldn't help but frown. Hee hee. A cold laughter suddenly rang out. What are you laughing at? Yu Xiaojiang walked over with a serious expression on his face as usual. Shi Chen, I know you hold resentment towards me, but Shi Chen has already died. An inexplicable anger ignited in Shi Chen's heart, interrupting Yu Xiaojiang's nonsense. The useless stone Chen you think has died and left this world completely. However, I want you to repay him 100 times the humiliation he once suffered. Sigh, Yu Xiaojiang sighed and said regretfully, I didn't expect my rejection to have such a serious impact on you. I'm sorry about this, but even if I try again 10,000 times, I will still reject you. This child is probably crazy, full of nonsense. Zhao Wuji also felt a bit apologetic, not expecting that Shi Chen's tolerance would be so poor. A useless master who seeks fame and reputation, unable to break even level 30, coupled with a vulnerable garbage soul saint, are you showing mercy on me? Before he could finish speaking, Shi Chen let out a cruel smile, and a terrifying pressure fell from the sky, imprisoning everyone present in place, bending his body and making it difficult to move. What? Shrek and his mentors instantly stiffened and looked at each other, with Yu Xiaojiang's face the most unsightly. What kind of divine and ghostly means is this to imprison so many people in place without moving? Even the title Douluo may not be able to do it. Who exactly are you? Yu Xiaojiang struggled to resist the pressure and asked with a trembling voice. It doesn't matter who I am, Shi Chen sneered, then raised his hand and grabbed all the people in the crowd who had previously mocked him. The important thing is, what will be welcoming you next? Recommended new book. Douluo. Sacrificing and refining Hunyuan, opening 7 divine goo, end of this chapter. Chapter 3. The Shame of Spit, Master's Philosophy of Life. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. The Shame of Spit, Master's Philosophy of Life. Shi Chen's emotionless voice echoed in everyone's ears, as if announcing the arrival of death. Sure. What do you want to do, Shi Chen? If you dare to touch my hair, my family will not let you go. The few people who were caught looked at Shi Chen with a frightened expression, and one of them who knew Shi Chen's situation didn't forget to threaten him. Don't worry, I won't hurt anyone. Shi Chen showed a harmless smile, and the fear of the few people weakened a bit. However, Shi Chen's next sentence made them feel like they were falling into an ice cave, their faces turning pale. I usually only kill people. Shi Chen, dare you? Noisy. Shi Chen's face changed, and the terrifying pressure instantly shattered the souls of several people, extinguishing their vitality. Just a few ants, kill them and then kill them. As for the consequences, Shi Chen doesn't need to consider these at all. When Shrek and the others saw this scene, they both fell into extreme panic because they didn't even have the ability to fight back now, and the pressure was too strong. You're not Shi Chen, who the hell are you? Yu Xiaojiang gritted his teeth, his expression almost twisted. He had never felt such terrifying oppression, even when facing the Pope above 10,000 people. Are you questioning me? Before he could finish speaking, Shi Chen had already arrived at Yu Xiaojiang, his eyes coldly looking down at him. Yu Xiaojiang's body trembled violently, and an unprecedented fear surged into his heart. Yu Xiaojiang, it's ridiculous that you, a waste who goes against ethics and is abandoned by your family, dare to call yourself a master. Shi Chen did not intend to directly kill Yu Xiaojiang, because living in boundless despair and humiliation is more painful than dying. Secondly, perhaps you can also brush out a few hidden tasks from this useless person. Yu Xiaojiang took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, what do you want to do? If I have offended you in any way, I will kneel down and apologize for it. Everyone. What? Shi Chen. What? Yu Xiaojiang's words completely messed up Shi Chen. Is this still the master he knows who is self-righteous, and my fate is determined by me, not by heaven? Xiaojiang, a handsome man, how can he kneel and kowtow to others? Fran's eagle eyebrows furrowed, and he couldn't understand Yu Xiaojiang's humble plea for mercy. With Yu Xiaojiang's personality, dignity should be considered more important than anything else. So you're not afraid of death? Shi Chen glanced sideways at Fran, who immediately closed his mouth and dared not make any more sound. Waste. Shi Chen sneered and then kicked Yu Xiaojiang into the middle of the road. Air. Shi Chen, if you have something to say, I was blind before, but I didn't know Mount Taishan. Having witnessed Shi Chen's murder tactics just now, Yu Xiaojiang dared not take any chances at this moment, fearing that he would suddenly die like those guys, inexplicably. I have finally come to where I am today, and I cannot die like this without proving my theory to the world. Don't be afraid, I, Shi Chen, am not someone who indiscriminately kills innocent people. Yu Xiaojiang glanced at the few corpses next to him and forced out a smile. Killing you, a despicable person who is greedy for life and afraid of death, dirties my hands. As he spoke, Shi Chen suddenly looked at everyone and said, do you want to live? Everyone quickly nodded like a chicken pecking at rice. Shi Chen said, okay, then I'll give you a chance to live. After I have regained my power, all you need to do is walk by Yu Xiaojiang, a useless person, spit at him, and leave here. Of course, if anyone dares to play tricks and escape, those few guys will be your fate. What? Yu Xiaojiang's face changed greatly, which was even more insulting than a humiliation between his legs. Shi Chen sneered, what's wrong, you don't agree? Take it, I take it, Yu Xiaojiang twitched at the corner of his mouth, haha. Shi Chen immediately accepted the pressure of the Heavenly Emperor and said to the crowd, we can start now. And then Tuichui ba, don't squeeze, I'll vomit first. First of all, I have a lot of saliva. No saliva, can I spit? After more than 10 minutes, more than 100 people finished spitting, and Yu Xiaojiang's whole body was covered in saliva and phlegm. It's your turn. Shi Chen looked at the Shrek crowd. Everyone looked puzzled and didn't move for a moment. Shi Chen sneered and said, "It seems that everyone has a strong desire to die. Since that's the case, I will satisfy you today." Slow down, Yu Xiaojiang, who was lying in drool, suddenly shouted, "What are you doing in a daze? It's just a mouthful of saliva, isn't it? I've already suffered so much, and I still need this little bit from you. Come over quickly. Master. Xiao Gang. Hurry up and vomit." Yu Xiaojiang looked righteous and selfless, but in his heart, he was thinking. Since my face has already been lost, it's better to take the opportunity to establish a tall image now, and maybe even regain some dignity. Xiao Gang, it was me who blamed you earlier. Fran blamed himself and then looked at the crowd. Let's go. Tuichui except for Tang San who had fainted, Shrek and everyone else spat on Yu Xiaojiang. Not bad. Shi Chen nodded in satisfaction. What he wants is this kind of effect, which is not very harmful, but extremely insulting. Are you satisfied? Yu Xiaojiang lifted his head from his saliva and looked at Shi Chen. Shi Chen felt nauseous and immediately turned his head to say, "It's okay, let's save you from death today." Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the N.class hidden task. Humiliating the despicable character Yu Xiaojiang. Reward. Emperor's Blood Points Divine Power. Emperor's Blood Empowerment Technique. The host can use fresh blood to infuse all things, such as improving the Soul Master's martial soul quality, cultivation qualifications, and so on. There are indeed hidden tasks. Shi Chen was delighted in his heart and immediately withdrew the Heavenly Emperor's pressure from Yu Xiaojiang. At the same time, a speculation arose in his heart. The main characters in Douluo world could all have hidden missions brushed out. Wait until these flowers bloom before picking them. Shi Chen murmured and his gaze swept over Xiao Wu, Zhu Zhuqing, and Ning Rongrong. After Xiao Wu noticed Shi Chen's gaze, her body couldn't help but tremble, because the titled Douluo could see her true form, and the guy in front of her clearly had reached the level of titled Douluo. Shrek, see you again next time. You won't have such good luck. After speaking, Shi Chen transformed into a golden light and swept away, quickly disappearing from everyone's sight. The original resentment has been eliminated, and I have completed 2 more hidden tasks. There is no need to stay in this place where birds don't poop anymore. Master, are you okay? Everyone immediately gathered around, but still slightly distanced themselves from Yu Xiaojiang by 3 or 4 meters. It's okay. Yu Xiaojiang got up from the ground, shook his saliva, and his expression returned to its usual seriousness. The law of the jungle, being humiliated by others is not a shame. Only by being able to bend and stretch can one become a husband. I hope you remember that people should learn to give in appropriately, leaving the green mountains without fear of being burned. Master. Everyone immediately cast admiring gazes. He is truly a master, and only by being able to bend and stretch can one become a husband. Recommended author for a new book, Peerless Tang Sect Fan. Douluo. Sacrificing and refining Huiyuhao, opening 7 divine gu, end of this chapter. Chapter 4. No one can bully Ling'er again. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. No one can bully Ling'er again. Tiando City. After leaving Shrek College, Shi Chen arrived at the busiest capital on this continent. The bustling streets are bustling with cars and horses, and people come and go, making it extremely bustling. However, Shi Chen's mind is not focused on these things. He came here today to meet someone at the Tiando Palace. A sister who has been dependent on him since childhood. This is Shi Chen's only relative in this world. Although Shi Chen is no longer Shi Chen, the concern for his younger sister in his heart cannot be dispelled no matter what. Tiando Imperial Palace. In a secluded courtyard. The girl dressed in palace-made attire sat next to a large wooden basin, scrubbing the clothes piled up in the mountains without any complaints. The girl is very delicate, with a fair melon-seed face, a thin and rosy small mouth, and large and lively eyes. Her nose is not as small as that of ordinary women, but rather straight and upright. So it appears that the facial features are particularly three-dimensional, exquisite and beautiful, with a kind of exquisite beauty. Damn girl, I can't finish washing these clothes today. I can't even eat. Two women dressed in palace-made costumes walked over, one of whom spoke very harshly, as if her identity was much higher than that of a young girl. Oh, you damn girl, I've told you many times that women's clothes can't be washed like this, they'll spoil. As she spoke, another palace maid pretended to go up and teach the girl a lesson. Women have a strong sense of jealousy, especially when facing women who are more beautiful than themselves but weaker than themselves. Sister Jenner, I was wrong, I know I was wrong. The girl sat down on the ground, immediately curling up and trembling with her head in her arms, not daring to resist. Wrong. These are the ladies' clothes. If they're washed bad, your little life won't be safe. I'm teaching you the rules for living. But these ladies' clothes were originally washed by you. Damn you, dare to talk back. Look at me if I don't kill you. Just as the palace maid Jenner wanted to raise her hand and hit the girl, she suddenly froze in place, her expression gradually beginning to twist, seeming extremely painful. On the eaves beside him, Shi Chen's body slowly trembled as he watched everything, and his arms were bulging with veins. He remembers his sister sending him a letter from home. She said she is living very well in the palace, having food and clothing, not tired from work, and her sisters take good care of her, but sometimes she misses home and misses her big brother, sorry. A sense of guilt surged in his heart, and Shi Chen dived down and came to the girl's side. He slowly squatted down, stroking the girl's beautiful hair, and softly said, Ling'er, big brother is here. Don't hit me, Ling'er knows she's wrong. The girl's voice trembled as she begged for mercy. The deep fear in her heart seemed to prevent her from hearing Shi Chen's voice. Ling'er, don't be afraid, it's big brother. Shi Chen looked at the young girl with heartache, wanting to hold her, but not daring. Big brother. The girl was taken aback for a moment, then carefully poked her head out and glanced at Shi Chen. After confirming that it was the elder brother, she immediately threw herself into Shi Chen's arms and burst into tears. The grievances hidden deep in my heart finally have a place to cry. Don't be afraid, from now on, no one can bully Ling'er anymore, big brother guarantees. Shi Chen gently patted Shi Ling'er's back, comforting her in a soft voice. After crying for more than 10 seconds, Shi Ling'er suddenly thought of something and immediately restrained her crying. Big brother, how did you come into the palace? Breaking into the palace without permission is a capital offense. Before the guards find out, hurry up and leave here. I'm doing pretty well here. Shi Ling'er knew that his elder brother had secretly entered the palace for her. Just now, big brother saw it all. Shi Chen shook his head and said with heartache, I'm here to take you away from the palace. Shi Ling'er looked worried and said, but the palace is heavily guarded. Don't worry, big brother has a way, said Shi Chen, turning his head to look coldly at the two palace maids and asking, do they often bully you? Shi Ling'er hesitated for a moment and then nodded. Today, big brother will make the decision for you. Shi Chen smiled and suddenly raised his hand to grab one of the palace maids' necks. He then lifted it up and slammed her head into the ground with a fierce force. The other palace maid was so frightened that she quickly covered her mouth, softened her body, and knelt on the ground. Don't kill me, I was wrong. Wrong. It's too late. Help me. Loud noise. Shi Chen's gaze turned cold as he concocted a plan and smashed the head of another palace maid into the ground. At the same time, he exerted the power of the heavenly emperor, shattering their souls and preventing them from being reborn forever. After dealing with these two despicable people, Shi Chen suddenly sensed heavy footsteps rushing towards this place, probably the Imperial City's forbidden army. Ling'er, let's go. Shi Chen tightly grasped Ling'er's hand. He was here to take his sister and didn't want to have too many branches. Where are we going? At that moment, a woman dressed in luxury and elegant demeanor suddenly walked into the courtyard. Shi Chen paused for a moment and turned to look at the woman who suddenly appeared. At first glance, it seemed like she was 27 or 8 years old, but her eyes seemed to see through everything in the world, far beyond the comparison of 27 or 8-year-old women. The silver palace dress looked so fitting on her, and in terms of temperament, only Pope Bibidong of the Martial Soul Hall could match it. Differently, she did not possess the same level of authority as Pope Bibidong, but her nobility was no less impressive. Moreover, this woman does not have any soul power fluctuations on her body, indicating that she is not a soul master. Madam Yu, Ling'er exclaimed with joy. Mrs. Yu. It seems that she is Tang Yuehua, and the relationship between the girl and her seems to be quite good. Shi Chen muttered to himself. Ling'er. Tang Yuehua smiled gently and then looked at Shi Chen, with a hint of surprise in her eyes. She wondered how the young man had infiltrated the deep palace and how he dared to kill people in the palace. Are you Ling'er's big brother? Tang Yuehua asked. Shi Chen nodded slightly and said, Madam Yu suddenly appeared here. Are you trying to stop us siblings? Tang Yuehua shook her head and said, I was originally planning to pick up Ling'er to Yuexian today, but whoever thought. Tang Yuehua glanced at the bodies of two palace maids with their heads sunk into the ground next to them and gave a bitter smile. Shi Chen looked at his younger sister and said, Ling'er, is there such a thing? Ling'er nodded. It is precisely because of Tang Yuehua's favor that these two scoundrels harbored hatred towards Ling'er. Shi Chen looked at Tang Yuehua and said calmly, Thank you very much for Mrs. Yu's kindness, but there's no need. I came today to take Ling'er out of here. After speaking, Shi Chen pulled his sister and was about to leave, but Tang Yuehua's next sentence made Shi Chen stop again. Will you wander with your spirit for a lifetime? Shi Chen paused for a moment and looked at the girl beside him, feeling hesitant in his heart. I still have a lot of things to do, so I can't keep wandering around with my sister. It's unfair to her. What exactly are you trying to say? Shi Chen looked sideways at Tang Yuehua behind him. In his memory, the woman's character seemed to be good, and it was not impossible for her to teach Ling'er. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. The Memories of Zhu Xian, Tang How Collapses. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. The Memories of Zhu Xian, Tang How Collapses. I want Ling'er to stay in Yuexian. Don't worry, I will teach her wholeheartedly and won't let her suffer any more injustice. Tang Yuehua promised. This young man's ability to quietly infiltrate the palace is indeed somewhat different from that of ordinary people, but his actions are too reckless. In Tang Yuehua's opinion, he ultimately cannot make it to the stage. If Ling'er were to follow him, he would only suffer a lot in the future, especially since he has killed someone in the palace now. He will definitely be wanted by the Tiando Empire. Shi Chen thought for a moment and looked at his sister. Ling'er, what do you think? Big brother respects your choice. Although Tang Yuehua comes from Haotian sect, she is different from those guys. Shi Chen can feel that she really wants to be good to Ling'er. Ling'er showed a hesitant expression as she glanced at her older brother and then at Tang Yuehua. Her heart is very conflicted now. She naturally wanted to follow her elder brother, but this would definitely drag him down. That's why she secretly entered the palace as a palace maid without telling Shi Chen back then. Big brother is a person with great ambitions, and Ling'er doesn't want him to slow down and become stronger because of her. Big brother, Ling'er wants to stay in Yuexian and learn from Mrs. Yu. Have you made up your mind? Okay. After speaking, Shi Chen cut his fingertips and squeezed out a drop of blood, pressing it into Ling'er's eyebrows. Emperor blood possesses the divine power to enlighten all things. Shi Chen does not expect his sister to achieve much success through this, but only hopes that she can be safe and sound. Big brother will come to see you often in the future. Shi Chen smiled and touched Ling'er's head, then looked at Tang Yuehua. Madam Yu, I appreciate your care, little sister. Shi Chen will definitely thank you heavily in the future. Tang Yuehua nodded elegantly, not taking Shi Chen's so-called gratitude seriously. Thank you very much. Shi Chen clenched his fists and then brought Ling'er to Tang Yuehua's side. He waved goodbye and took a step out, already 100 feet away. This. Tang Yuehua was shocked in her heart and looked at Shi Chen on the eaves in surprise. With such a fast speed, no wonder she dared to sneak into the palace. By the way, there's one more thing I forgot to tell Mrs. Yu. What's up? Tang Yuehua is no longer as calm as before. Shi Chen said in a flat tone, I have only one sister in my life, and I don't want her to suffer any more harm. If I were to know, I would make the Heavenly Dou Empire and the Haotian sect irreparable. I don't have any advantages as a person, my only advantage is to keep my promises. Why did he mention Haotian sect? Does he know my identity? Tang Yuehua's face darkened and she said, Are you threatening me? You can think so, but don't doubt the authenticity of my statement. After speaking, Shi Chen smiled at Tang Yuehua and then turned into a golden light that disappeared into the sky, leaving only two stunned beauties, big and small. What kind of person is this kid? Tang Yuehua's heart was no longer calm. 100 zhang in one step is enough, and the body transforms into a golden light and flies away in the air. What kind of ghost is this? Even if the title Douluo comes, I'm afraid I can't catch this kid. Big brother is getting stronger and stronger, said Ling'er with a relieved expression on her face. Ling'er, how old is your elder brother? Tang Yuehua became strongly curious about Shi Chen at this moment. It will be 18 on December 24th this year, Ling'er replied. Are you only 18 years old? Tang Yuehua looked up towards the direction of Shi Chen's departure, and she remembered this young man in a blue shirt in her heart. After this incident, Shi Chen left Tiandou City. Next, he is going to do his own thing. Completing his own inheritance is of utmost importance. Secondly, he needs to establish a top-tier force on this continent that can make people talk about it. He will eventually leave in the future, so he must plan ahead for his sister. Finally, it is leisurely in the wind, flowers, snow, and moon, gathering rouge from the mortal world. On this continent, there is no shortage of beauties. On the outskirts of Tiandou City, in the woods. As he walked, Shi Chen was suddenly blocked by a middle-aged man. He looks almost 50 years old, but his figure is very tall and burly, but his attire is not commendable. Wearing a torn robe, without even patches on top, revealing the antique bronze skin underneath, the originally decent features were covered in a layer of wax yellow, with a sleepy and hazy appearance. The hair was messy like a bird's nest, and the beard on his face had not been tidied up for many days. His gaze was dull and yellow, and he had a strong smell of alcohol on his body. Tang Hao. With just one glance, Shi Chen recognized the identity of this middle-aged man. You have finally arrived. Tang Hao spoke slowly, with no hint of emotion mixed in his tone. Yeah. Shi Chen replied with a calm expression. Don't worry, this guy must have come to help Tang San seek revenge. You have a calmness and strength far superior to your peers, but unfortunately, you will die here today. Tang Hao stared at Shi Chen, attempting to break through his inner defense with his eyes. He. Shi Chen sneered and sneered, why, the once arrogant Haotian Douluo has fallen into such a pitiful state. It's really heartbreaking. Do you know who I am? Tang Hao's face suddenly darkened. Judging from this kid's age, he had no reason to know his identity. Of course, aren't you the trash who asks his own woman to sacrifice and survive? Shi Chen said calmly. If the upper beam is not straight and the lower beam is crooked, Tang Hao is not much better than Tang San. Since he brought it to his door today, Shi Chen naturally won't be soft-hearted. You. Shut up. Tang Hao was furious and his face instantly became gloomy. Ian's sacrifice was the pain of his life. Oh, poking your pain, angry. Shi Chen naturally couldn't just let him go like this. Killing the heart is more enjoyable than killing. Shi Chen continued, in the past, you made your wife sacrifice, causing shame on the sect. But now, you can't even protect your own son. Just because you're such a useless person, you want to kill me. Huh, don't you think it's ridiculous? Let you stop it. Tang Hao's inner defense line collapsed, and he went berserk, unleashing the terrifying aura of being titled Douluo. The forest was instantly hunted by a fierce wind, and the powerful soul power fluctuation scared away the surrounding birds and beasts, while also attracting some powerful soul masters in Tiando City. You are a coward who dare not even seek revenge at the martial soul hall. You only dare to bully the weak and bark here. I told you to shut up, shut up. Tang Hao roared up to the sky, and the Haotian hammer appeared in his hand, causing the soul ring on his body to rhythmically move. The sky was instantly swept by wind and clouds. Haotian Douluo, after many years, has reappeared. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Purple Gold 9 Soul Ring, Suppressing Haotian Douluo. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Purple Gold 9 Soul Ring, Suppressing Haotian Douluo. Kid, I haven't been so angry in many years. I wanted to give you a good time, but unfortunately. Tang Hao, who exuded the aura of being titled Douluo, was like a god of killing at this moment. In his eyes, this young man in green clothes was already a dead person. Looking at the entire continent, there are only a few strong individuals who can compete with him in the Haotian Douluo, and this young man in blue is clearly not among this small group of people. Kill me. Who gave you the confidence? Shi Chen stood with his hand down and shook his head slightly. Similarly, in his eyes, the title Douluo is no different from ordinary people, they are just ants that can be easily killed. At the same time, those soul masters who were attracted by the terrifying title Douluo pressure of Tang Hao have arrived in Tiando City. After seeing the situation in the forest clearly, they couldn't help but take a few steps back. Because they saw the middle-aged man holding a Haotian hammer, and there were 9 soul rings rhythmically moving under his feet. Haotian. Is Haotian Douluo? What? Haotian Douluo. He has been missing for a long time, hasn't he? Who is that young man in the green shirt? Even in the face of Haotian Douluo, he can still remain so calm. This young man is really a short-lived ghost. Who's not good to provoke? He offended Haotian crown. He can't survive. The crowd was in a frenzy of discussion. The news of Haotian Douluo's appearance quickly spread into the city, attracting more and more soul masters to watch the battle. After all, no one wants to see the once-acclaimed first genius on the mainland, Haotian Douluo's style. In the forest. Tang Hao was too lazy to care about Shi Chen's wild words, and now he only wanted to hammer and kill this noisy ant. Who in the world dares to humiliate Tang Hao like this? If you don't kill this thief today, you will definitely be haunted by a demon in the future. Old buddy, we haven't teamed up to kill enemies for many years, but now we're killing a mole ant. I've wronged you. Tang Hao muttered to himself to the Haotian hammer in his hand, then looked up at Shi Chen. His gaze turned cold, and his body suddenly rose from the ground, throwing a hammer at Shi Chen. For such a mole ant, Tang Hao disdains to use his soul skills. With his physical strength, a single blow is enough to kill it. This kid is also unlucky enough. Who said it's not? Who knows how he offended Haotian Mianxiao? This kid broke through the heavenly soul lord. Even if Haotian crown doesn't use soul skills, he can still kill him with a single hammer. Unfortunately, he looks like a talented person. At the moment Tang Hao took action, everyone had already anticipated the outcome. How could there be a chance of survival against Haotian Douluo? Unless there is a miracle, but it is clearly impossible. After a few breaths, under the gaze of everyone, Haotian hammer fiercely smashed towards the young man in the blue shirt with a force of breaking through the sky and breaking the ground. Perhaps frightened by the aura of Haotian Douluo, the young man in green clothes stood still in place. Death has arrived with a bang, the Haotian hammer struck down. What? The next second, the unexpected result frightened all the people present. Haotian Douluo was unable to kill the young man in the green shirt with a single blow, but was mysteriously shaken and flew out, breaking dozens of trees one after another and even letting go of the Haotian hammer in his hand. In the forest, the green shirt swayed with the wind, emitting a sense of invincible loneliness. Shi Chen's mouth slightly curled up and he sneered, "This is the first genius in the mainland." No wonder he asked his wife to sacrifice. Shi Chen's words echoed in everyone's ears, making people feel a tingling sensation. What kind of person is this young man in green clothes? As strong as Haotian Douluo, he couldn't even enter his body. Ha ha ha. Suddenly, a wild and dull burst of laughter came from deep in the forest. No wonder you dare to be so arrogant. It turns out you have something to rely on. Your defense is indeed very strong, but today you still cannot escape death. Before he could finish speaking, a huge figure holding a Haotian hammer appeared in the sky. Haotian's true body. It's time to end. The seventh soul skill is the true body of the martial soul. With this hammer, Tang Hao came with a thunderous force, and the surrounding soul masters saw the situation and quickly fled to the side, afraid of being affected and dying. This special effect. This guy is so pretentious. Shi Chen also felt that it was time to end it, but naturally it was Tang Hao who ended it. Buzz. Shi Chen took a slow step forward, and the soul ring under his feet began to rhythmically move, but his soul ring was somewhat peculiar. 9 pure purple and gold soul rings. Pretend to play special effects. I can't scare you to death. Heavenly Emperor's oppression. Shi Chen silently recited a sentence in his heart, then raised his hand and gently pressed down in the direction of Tang Hao. Under the pressure of the Heavenly Emperor, Haotian's true body was instantly shattered, and Tang Hao was shot down, tightly imprisoned on the ground. In just a few seconds, the situation underwent a huge reversal once again, and the majestic Haotian Douluo was unexpectedly suppressed by a young man in a blue shirt. Crouching Trough, 9 soul ring. This young man is also titled Douluo. Did you also call the boy Mianxia? He must be called Mianxia. Have you noticed that the soul rings under this crown are all of the same color, curious and terrifying? Stepping on the Haotian Douluo to ascend to the throne, this crown subordinate is bound to make a name for the entire continent after today. No one dared to speak rudely anymore, they were all deeply shocked by Shi Chen. Terrifying defense, eerie 9 soul ring, raising your hand to suppress Haotian Douluo. All kinds of anomalies indicate that this person's strength is unparalleled, as it has shaken the past and present. How could it be? How could I possibly lose? Let go of me, let go of me. In the forest, Tang Hao arched his body and roared angrily. At the beginning, the martial soul palace sent so many strong men who were unable to kill him, but now they have been defeated by an unknown young man. How can he be content with this? Noisy. Shi Chen hooked his finger, and the terrifying pressure of the Heavenly Emperor made Tang Hao kneel on both knees. A useless person who can't even touch the corner of my clothes wants to help your son seek revenge. Hee, it's really ridiculous. Ah. If you have the ability, let go of me. If you don't kill me, Tang Hao will swear not to be human. Do you think you still look like a person now? Ah. Let go of me. Tang Hao completely collapsed. Don't worry, I still disdain to kill such a coward like you, but as punishment for offending me. Shi Chen showed a hint of Jie's smile, then raised his hand and waved it. Under the pressure of the Heavenly Emperor, he smashed all the clothes on Tang Hao's body. What do you want to do? Tang Hao showed a surprised expression. Shi Chen turned around speechlessly. Tang Hao's mind was a bit dirty, no wonder he could give birth to a hypocrite like Tang San. Haotian Douluo, returning to the public's perspective, naturally requires a special way of appearing. What exactly do you want to do? Don't worry, you'll know right away. After speaking, Shi Chen waved his hand and threw Tang Hao, who was not wearing clothes, into the bustling streets of Tiando City, while imprisoning him for a day and a night. P.S. Seeking recommended tickets, gifts, creating is not easy. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Great Shame and Shame, Rewarding Hunyuan Gourd. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Great Shame and Shame, Rewarding Hunyuan Gourd. This. When everyone saw this scene, they couldn't help but widen their eyes. They didn't expect such a terrifying battle to end in this way. Although Haotian Douluo was not killed, his dignity was cruelly trampled and rubbed under his feet, which was even more painful for a titled Douluo than death. As time passed, more and more soul masters came to watch the excitement, but everyone only dared to stand in the distance and observe, and no one dared to approach that forest. Meanwhile, on the bustling streets of Tiando City. Playing hooligans. A middle-aged woman's scream sounded, instantly attracting the attention of many people. This is Tiando City, at the feet of the imperial family. Who dares to play hooligans on the street? Whatever you're looking at, get out of here. Believe it or not, I'll kill you all. Tang Hao, completely naked, roared at the onlookers. He wanted to break free from his constraints, but unfortunately, it was under the pressure of the Heavenly Emperor. It was not like him, a mole ant, who would break free at any moment. So, he could only remain powerless and furious in place, being pointed and pointed by the onlookers who were eating melons. TSK, who's this old man? He's so shameless, he doesn't have much meat, and he dares to play hooligans on the street. Oh my, I'm so ashamed of myself. She looks so burly, but the layout is so unattractive. To be honest, it's not as good as my 2.5-year-old son. Oh my god, this. Isn't it Haotian's crown prince? I've been looking for you for a while, why were you thrown here? After Tang Hao was thrown into Tiando City by Shi Chen, a soul master naturally followed him. What? You said this guy who looks useless is Haotian Mianxia. Sleeping slot. So, I'm even stronger than Haotian Mianxia in some way. I heard that Haotian has a son under his crown, and now I seriously suspect that this son is not his own. Amidst the noisy discussion, Tang Hao felt like he was going crazy, which was even more uncomfortable than killing him. Even if people talk about it, what they talk about in his mother is still that aspect. Is it difficult? Is the mistress really not my own? Tang Hao fell into deep suspicion. On the other side, in the forest. Ding! After sending Tang Hao away, the sound of the system rang in Shi Chen's mind. It seems that his previous conjecture was not wrong, and there is a high chance that these hidden tasks can be painted on these main characters. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the N.class hidden task. To humiliate the useless Tang Hao to the greatest extent possible. Reward. Hunyuan Gourd. Hunyuan Gourd. An unparalleled magical tool that can collect all things and suppress the immortal king. If a true immortal is collected, it can be directly refined into a pool of pus and blood. On the black surface of the black gourd, there are metal veins, which are traces of the great path. Once a person is trapped in the metal veins, they will form a large net and be burned to death. I'll wipe it, this is good. This gourd can even be refined into a pool of pus and blood from a true immortal. let alone a mere title Douluo or those fake gods. I have taken another step forward on the path of invincibility. But why do I always trigger N.class hidden tasks? What does this N represent, and is there any other class of hidden tasks besides the N class? These still need to be explored slowly by Shi Chen himself. Come out now. After collecting the Hunyuan gourd, Shi Chen said a faint sentence. He had already sensed someone approaching him. The reason why I didn't point it out just now was that I was too lazy to take notice. Indeed, nothing can be concealed from the crown. Quickly, a young man walked out of the nearby forest, accompanied by 4 sold Douluo-level guards. The man looks around 27 or 8 years old, not handsome, but with a straight nose and a square mouth. He is dressed in a clean blue cloth robe, giving a refreshing feeling. His slender black hair was tied with a blue ribbon, neatly hanging behind his head. Although his attire was very ordinary, he had a special temperament. Snow-clear river, no, to be precise, it should be 1,000 steps of snow. Shi Chen muttered in his heart that he, who was familiar with Douluo, quickly judged her identity from her attire and appearance. There are many powerful soul masters around, even those with titles like Douluo, but no one dares to approach, and you are not afraid. As Shi Chen spoke, an invisible pressure fell on the 5 of them. What about the top beauties in Douluo world? After inheriting the lineage of Emperor Haotian, Shi Chen's Dao heart has transcended the mundane world. He will accept beauty, but he will never be deceived or immersed in it. Shi Chen said in a plain tone, after defeating Haotian Douluo, I did not kill him, which shows that I am not a bloodthirsty person. On the continent of soul masters, the number of titled Douluo is extremely small, and among the titled Douluo, there are even fewer who can be called the Corona. And now this young man in green has easily defeated the invincible Haotian Douluo, enough to be revered as the crown prince. Oh! Shi Chen sneered and then moved his finger, causing the 5 of them to be suppressed and unable to straighten up. People's hearts are unpredictable, we can't just look at the surface. Tang Hao is a titled Douluo and it's difficult to kill, but you guys are different. Shi Chen struggled to resist the pressure and said in a low voice, I won't read it wrong. Shi Chen always believed that he was already one of the best among his peers, until today when he met Shi Chen, a young man who could make her powerless to fight back with just a flick of his finger. She just realized that she was sitting in her own well and observing the sky. Hee, you're right. I'm not a bloodthirsty person. If I want to kill Tang Hao, it's just a matter of using my fingers. After speaking, Shi Chen regained his divine power. Didn't you just say that the title Douluo is not easy to kill? Shi Chen was a bit speechless. She smiled bitterly and introduced herself, thank you, Crown Prince of the Heavenly Do Empire, Shi Chen. Shi Chen nodded slightly, his face still unchanged. The Snow Knight Emperor himself regarded him as a mole in his palm, let alone a disguised prince. What's going on? Shi Chen said, my crown is so strong, but I am willing to stay in the Heavenly Do Empire. Our Heavenly Do Empire is willing to. Stop it. Shi Chen interrupted Shi Chen's words and said coldly, if I were to fight the Emperor of the Empire that day, I might consider it for a few seconds. As for the rest, there's no need to say. Okay. For Shi Chen's arrogance, Shi Chen didn't think anything of it. The temperament of the strong is already different from that of ordinary people. It seems that the path of recruiting him is no longer feasible, and currently only the path of establishing a temporary friendship with him is left. Xian Rinxue thought to herself. Such a terrifying powerhouse must not become an enemy, otherwise it will definitely affect the grand plan of unifying the mainland with the martial Soul Hall in the future. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. The title of Desolation, famous for the continent. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. The title of Desolation, famous for the continent, are you leaving the Tiando Empire? Shi Chen dared to ask. It would be best to know the whereabouts of this crown prince next, so that the Martial Soul Hall can send strong men to contact him as soon as possible. Such a terrifying powerhouse must not be recruited by other forces. What does it have to do with you? Shi Chen replied calmly and then walked forward. If it weren't for the fact that she was Qian Rengshu, Shi Chen wouldn't bother with her. Under the crown. Xue Qinghe's smile stiffened slightly. How has she ever been so despised, whether as the young master of the Martial Soul Hall or the crown prince of the Heavenly Dou Empire? Do you still not know the title under the crown? Xue Qinghe asked again. Number suspension. Shi Chen paused for a moment. Being in this colorful world of martial souls, one should indeed have their own title. After thinking for a moment, Shi Chen replied, Wilderness. Since I have inherited the title of Emperor Huangtian, let's use the name Huangzi. Wild Douluo. Xue Qinghe murmured to himself, and his gaze towards the back of the green shirt couldn't help but add a touch of admiration. Wilderness. This is the most imposing title she has ever seen in all these years. From these two words, she felt a sense of unbeatable loneliness in the world. Under the desolate crown. By the time Xue Qinghe regained his senses from the shock of this title, Shi Chen had already disappeared. He, what a wild Douluo. Xue Qinghe's mouth curved into a cold smile. The identity of Prince Xue Qinghe cannot move you. What if the identity of the young master of the Martial Soul Hall, Qian Renxue? Qian Renxue was looking forward to the next meeting with this desolate Douluo. Afterwards. The name Huang Douluo quickly spread throughout most of the Soul Master continent. After all, he defeated Haotian Douluo, who was once hailed as the first genius on the continent. Stepping on Tang how to rise to power, it's difficult not to become famous. For a while, there were rumors circulating among the people about Huang Douluo, claiming that he was the strongest person on the mainland today. Some even claimed that he was an envoy sent by the gods to the human world, and some even claimed that Huangtian Douluo was a god. Anyway, how outrageous it is. Of course, these rumors are limited to the public's understanding, because they can never imagine that God is just an ant in front of this wild Douluo. Martial Soul City, Papal Palace. Bibi Dong, with a cold and majestic appearance, crossed his legs and supported his forehead as he sat on the papal throne, symbolizing supreme power. Her figure is extremely tall, with a golden long dress that fits perfectly from head to toe. The dazzling dress sparkles with over 100 red, blue, and gold gemstones on top. The 9 curved purple gold crown on top of the head is even more dazzling, holding a scepter about 2 meters long, inlaid with countless gemstones. Her fair skin and almost perfect appearance make her look so unique. Especially the intangible nobility and sacredness revealed on one's body, it makes one unable to resist the feeling of bowing with a bow. It's not easy to defeat Tang how easily, this wild Douluo. After reading the intelligence sent by the scout, Bibi Dong fell into a brief moment of contemplation. The sudden appearance of such a terrifying powerhouse on the mainland may affect one's own layout. Hunyuan, ghosts and ghosts. Bibi Dong's cold and majestic voice echoed in the main hall. The guard at the door immediately took orders and left. Soon. Chrysanthemum Douluo and Ghost Douluo walked into the main hall. Due to their martial soul fusion skills, they are highly valued by Bibi Dong, so their status in the Martial Soul Hall are higher than those of ordinary elders. Pay respects to the Pope's coronation. The two respectfully bowed. Bibi Dong nodded slightly and then said, I believe you should also know about the rumor about that Huang Douluo. Upon hearing the 3 words Huang Douluo, Ju Douluo and his wife exchanged a glance, their faces changing slightly. The most I've heard recently is about the rumors about this wild Tian Luo. I don't know what orders the Pope has under his crown. Chrysanthemum Douluo's voice was a bit soft, but not that kind of effeminate. Bibi Dong spoke calmly, I want you to search for the whereabouts of this guy. As soon as you have any news, report it to me immediately. This person's strength is immeasurable, and even if it cannot be used by me, it must not fall into the hands of other forces. Just searching for the whereabouts of this person. After hearing this, Douluo and his companions couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Obey me. Well, please step back. The two of them were ordered to leave. As long as it's not for the two of them fighting against this wild Douluo, then everything is easy to say. After all, being able to defeat Tang Hao's existence is not something that ordinary title Douluo like them can compete against. Although they have never seen this Huang Douluo take action, hearing too many rumors can easily make people afraid. Starry forest, deep inside. The blue sky of summer nights is very deep, and in the quiet forest, soul beasts roar. After leaving the heavenly Dou Empire, Shi Chen came to the Star Dou Forest and then entered the core area. He wants to build momentum for the forces he will create in the future. Now that his name as the Wild Douluo has already resounded throughout the Soul Master continent, if he were to surrender a powerful soul beast as a backdrop, it would be perfect. And he already has a goal. Dark Demon Evil God Tiger. The Dark Demon Evil God Tiger is a special type of demon beast, with a population even smaller than that of the human-faced magic spider, and it is an almost extinct soul beast. It is also a top-level soul beast, and it is precisely because it is too top-level that it is difficult to survive in the soul beast world, which is why it is so rare. As for the Titan Ape and the Sky Blue Bull Python, Shi Chen will not consider them for the time being. These two guys will have their own uses in the future. Moreover, they do not have the intimidating and terrifying power that this dark demon and evil god tiger brings to people. With his powerful perception, Shi Chen quickly arrived at the territory of the dark demon evil god tiger. And the dark demon evil god tiger seemed to have already sensed that a human was approaching, so it ambushed in the dark early on, patiently waiting for this damn human to enter the trap. Come out now. Not long after, Shi Chen suddenly stopped and felt an evil aura not far from him. Ah! A deep roar came from the pitch-black forest. Immediately after, a giant tiger, completely black and without any speckles, slowly walked out. The red eyes were filled with a gloomy aura, and the body was over 8 meters long. The muscles were bulging all over the body, probably weighing over 3,000 pounds. The one character on the forehead was also black, but different from the black fur, it was a gloomy and foggy black. The most peculiar thing is its tail, which is much longer than that of ordinary tiger soul beasts, and it is upright, composed of countless joints. At the top is a huge barb, shining with a faint light. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. All living creatures are ants at the feet of our emperor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. All living creatures are ants at the feet of our emperor, human, are you here to seek death? The dark demon, Tiger Sinhan, stared at Shi Chen with a dull voice, like thunder. It is not in a hurry to kill this human, because at the moment he stepped into his own territory, his life was destined to come to an end. Moreover, there is no soul power fluctuation on this human body, which poses no threat to it at all. Speaking out loud, the cultivation of this dark demon evil god tiger has actually reached 100,000 years. Shi Chen was slightly surprised in his heart. You should know that the dark demon and evil god tiger Tang San defeated back then only had a cultivation of 60,000 years. Unexpectedly, there is still such a great terror hidden deep in the starry forest. The strength of the dark demon evil god tiger is extremely strong. Generally speaking, soul beasts may be human martial souls, but this dark demon evil god tiger is an exception. No one's martial soul has ever been it. It is not a dark attribute in itself, but the most evil attribute left by evil gods, which is not something that the human body can bear. Having multiple attributes of evil, lightning, wind, and power, possessing extremely high intelligence, no less than that of humans. No, I'm here to subdue you, Shi Chen replied in a flat tone. This human is not afraid of me. Is he having a brain problem or is he relying on something? A hint of doubt flashed in the eyes of the dark demon tiger. Surrender me. He, there is no soul master in this world who can subdue me, even a god cannot. The tone of the dark demon tiger was extremely disdainful. And what it says is indeed true. There may be someone in this world who can kill it, but absolutely no one can subdue it. The way to improve the cultivation of soul beasts like the dark demon evil god tiger is through devouring, rather than self-cultivation. No matter what environment it appears in, it will immediately cause other soul beasts to attack it. It is necessary to completely destroy it before it becomes stronger. This top-level soul beast is capable of challenging opponents who surpass them by one level. In other words, a 10,000-year-old dark demon evil god tiger may even challenge other soul beasts of 100,000 grades. If the dark demon evil god tiger cultivates to the extreme, it is highly likely to become an evil god. The unique cultivation method has created a solitary and arrogant personality of the dark demon tiger, which cannot yield to the soul master. What is divine calculation? Shi Chen shook his head and sneered. If it weren't for the limitations of this world, he wouldn't have disdained surrendering this dark demon and evil god tiger. How does the 100,000-year dark demon evil god tiger compare to the ancient 10 evil spirits? There is no comparability at all. Shi Chen now faces an awkward situation when facing enemies. Others always think he is on the 99th floor, but in fact, he is on the first billion floors. What a arrogant tone, human, let me see how strong you are. Light blade. This dark demon evil god tiger with a cultivation of about 60,000 years can instantly emit dozens of black and red light blades, and after reaching 100,000 years, it can instantly emit 20. This black and red light blade is formed by the fusion of wind and evil energy attributes. With the strong cutting of wind attributes and the strong corrosion of evil attributes, its power is astonishing, no less than the soul skills emitted by human soul masters with over 50,000 years of black soul rings. Xianahu, you're a bit out of control. Shi Chen stood with his hands down, without any movement, allowing these 20 black and red light blades to attack. The defense of the Wilderness Emperor is not something that a foolish tiger can shake. Bang! 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 A series of crisp sounds rang out, and without exception, these light blades were all shattered into fragments when they were about 1 meter away from Shi Chen. What? How could this be possible? The eyes of the dark demon tiger immediately showed a look of astonishment. Even the peak Douluo dared not shoulder his own blow, and the human in front of him was so easily cracked. Is this guy divine or not? 100,000-year-old dark demon evil god tiger, rare in the world, qualified to become the emperor's mount. Shi Chen is not in a hurry to take action. Killing it is easy, but to make it truly submit, it will take some effort. Soul beasts have always had a rebellious personality, let alone top-level soul beasts like dark demons, evil gods, and tigers. Roar. The dark demon evil god tiger roared at Shi Chen and said angrily, I, the dark demon evil god tiger clan, will never submit to humans, never. Evil god hook. The long tail behind the dark demon tiger is dragging a curved black hook called the evil god hook. When the hook type undergoes a transformation, the bent hook body becomes straight like a long thorn, known as the evil god sting. The evil god sting can use its tip to break through an opponent's attack. It can also transform into a huge black hole with a diameter of 3 meters, suck the opponent into it, and make the opponent transform into a juvenile state alone. However, the dark demon evil god tiger itself, after being sucked into it, can be protected from the effects of this skill due to its protective defense. After being inhaled, the dark demon evil god tiger will engage in a life and death battle with its opponent in a different space. One side must die in order to end this life and death battle and leave this space. Generally speaking, it is inevitable that the other party will die, because after entering this space and entering a young state, how can you be the opponent of the 100,000-year dark demon evil god tiger? Quickly, a huge black hole with a diameter of 3 meters appeared in the sky, generating a strong suction force, intending to suck Shi Chen inside. Human beings, suffer to death. The dark demon tiger was full of confidence in its trump card. However, 3 or 4 minutes later, Shi Chen still stood in place, staring at the dark demon and evil god tiger with a silly expression. As for the black hole that generates strong suction, it has no effect on Shi Chen at all. The rules inside cannot withstand the force on Shi Chen's body. Ah! How could that be possible? The dark demon tiger panicked a bit. Because this human has never made a move from beginning to end, but it has been tightly suppressed. What kind of person are you? The dark demon tiger asked in a gloomy voice, and it did not launch any more attacks. The sense of oppression emanating from this human body gave it the thought of running away. You should know that it is the undisputed hegemon in this core area. It has eaten several soul beasts for 100,000 years. When was it forced to be so embarrassed by people? All living creatures are regarded by our emperor as ants under our feet. Who do you think I am? Shi Chen replied with a smile. He knew that the inner defense line of this dark demon tiger had been shattered by himself. When the dark demon tiger realizes that no matter how much it attacks, it cannot defeat the opponent, it will instinctively want to escape, and once this idea arises, it is not far from being subdued. Even if you are a god, I will not yield to you. The dark demon and evil god tiger will never be a slave. The dark demon evil god tiger grinned at Shi Chen, and then twisted waves quickly circled around it. The gray aura emanating from it turned into a gray light, and in an instant, it bloomed, spreading out for hundreds of meters. It wants to unleash its territory and escape. P.S. Boss Reward Recommendation Ticket, Gift Bar. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Enduring Unbeatable Loneliness in the World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Enduring unbeatable loneliness in the world. If you want to escape, can you escape? A curve curved at the corner of Shi Chen's mouth, and ripples rippled under his feet. The 9 purple and golden soul rings emitting an ancient aura began to rhythmically move. In an instant, the power of the heavenly emperor fell. With a bang. The realm of the dark demon evil god tiger is completely non-existent, with its limbs bent, and it kneels fiercely on the ground, unable to move at all. This terrifying pressure is something it has never felt before, even when facing a level 99 peerless Douluo. What did you do to me? The dark demon tiger roared in fear. It can clearly feel that it has no ability to resist at all. Shi Chen stepped on the void and slowly walked over. He looked down at the dark demon evil god tiger and spoke calmly. It's not easy for the dark demon evil god tiger to cultivate to your level. Now, I will give you a chance to live and submit to me. The dark demon evil god tiger immediately roared, Dark demon evil god tiger, never. No. 4. Slave. It's better to kill it directly than deprive it of its proud dignity. Shi Chen chuckled lightly and said, what if I could make you a beast god? In Shi Chen's view, his unwillingness to submit was simply due to insufficient chips. The iron-eating beasts of the past were not clamoring that they would never be slaves, and unless they were wrapped up in food. Beast. Beast god. A hint of astonishment flashed in the eyes of the dark demon tiger. Becoming a beast god is an irresistible temptation for every soul beast, even its dark demon, the evil god tiger. On the Soul Master continent, there are only 4 ways to become a beast god. Firstly, soul beasts continue to cultivate until they break through the shackles of millions of years and become gods in an instant. Secondly, soul beast transformation and recultivation, following the path of human soul masters cultivating into gods. Thirdly, soul beasts can become gods by offering sacrifices to soul masters. Once the soul masters become gods, soul beasts can also become gods. Fourthly, the soul beast chooses to become a soul master, and the soul and soul master coexist. If the soul master becomes a god, the soul will also become a god. The promotion of a soul beast to become a beast god is much more difficult than that of a soul master becoming a god at level 100, especially for the first type, which has never been successful before. Hehe, why is it so difficult for soul beasts to be promoted to become beast gods? Although your strength is strong, even if you are a god, it is impossible to achieve it. The dark demon evil god tiger did not believe Shi Chen's words. In its view, this was just a means for this guy to coax it into submission. Are you questioning the emperor's strength? Shi Chen's gaze turned cold, and the heavenly emperor's imposing pressure instantly pushed half of the body of the dark demon evil god tiger into the soil. Don't compare yourself with the gods you know. In my eyes, those gods are no different from ants. I killed you as easily as a palm of my hand, but because it's not easy for you to cultivate, I just wanted to give you a chance. Hehe, since you are determined to die, then I can only eliminate you as a curse. As the words fell, Shi Chen raised his hand and pressed down, causing the entire body of the dark demon evil god tiger to instantly sink into the soil, and its face became twisted and ferocious. Regardless of whether you are a 100,000-year soul beast or a so-called god, in the face of the oppression of the heavenly emperor, there is only one dead end. Roar. Ah! The dark demon tiger roared and then began to mourn in pain. How many creatures are not afraid of death? Especially for these soul beasts who have to endure pain and become stronger in order to survive better. After finally cultivating for 100,000 years, should I die like this? The dark demon evil god tiger is unwilling in his heart. Why did it end up like this when it was already the undisputed ruler in the star forest? All of this is because it's not strong enough. Can you really help me become a beast god? Under the fear of death, the dark demon tiger still chose to compromise, unwilling to die so miserably. Isn't it true that the dark demon and evil god tiger will never be a slave? What are you doing? Shi Chen sneered and then weakened the pressure of the heavenly emperor. Of course I can, but I just thought about it and it doesn't seem to benefit me much to help you promote to the beast god, so I changed my mind again. Shi Chen is here to subdue this guy as a mount, not to make a deal with him. In this world, no one is qualified to negotiate a deal on an equal footing with Shi Chen. Ah! A hint of terror appeared on the face of the dark demon evil god tiger, and it knew that it had lost all its negotiation qualifications. It lowered its head and said, I am willing to submit to you. It is an invincible dark demon and evil god with a cultivation of 100,000 years in the starry forest. Even if the peerless Douluo comes, he will have to return in embarrassment. However, now it has been easily suppressed by a young man in a green shirt. Perhaps this is fate, and this young man in a green shirt is the nemesis of its dark demon, the tiger's life. Are you really willing to submit to this emperor? Shi Chen is not the kind of reckless man who likes to persuade others with strength. He still prefers to persuade others with reason and make them willingly submit to him. The dark demon evil god tiger nodded. Does it have any other choice besides surrendering now? Follow this emperor, do you know what you will bear in the future? The dark demon evil god tiger shook his head, and a curious expression couldn't help but appear in his eyes. This young man in green clothes is so elusive when he speaks. Shi Chen suddenly let out a sigh, turned around, and his back also became somewhat desolate. Will endure unbeatable loneliness in the world. The dark demon evil god tiger was taken aback and his mind was filled with question marks. It suddenly felt that this terrifyingly powerful master was somewhat unreliable. Speaking of Shrek College. After such a commotion before Shi Chen, Shrek Academy and Yu Xiaojiang have been tarnished, especially Yu Xiaojiang, who has gained a nickname of drooling. Fortunately, Qi Guai did not leave here because of this. It was just that since that day, Ning Rongrong, Zhu Zhuqing, and Xiao Wu have clearly become somewhat absent-minded while practicing martial arts. As for the reason, only they themselves know. Study. Yu Xiaojiang stood by the window with his hands down, his gaze gazing into the distance, his face somewhat melancholic. Teacher, I want to become stronger as soon as possible, I want revenge. Tang San stood on the side, clenched his fists tightly and his eyes filled with murderous intent. Just this morning, he learned that his father was rumored to be the Haotian Douluo, the first genius on the Soul Master continent. But within 2 minutes of his happiness, bad news came. His father was defeated by a guy named Huang Douluo, and he was stripped naked and left standing on the streets of Tiandeching for a day and a night. A man, who was once the first genius on the mainland, was so humiliated. Xiao San, you need to calm down. That's a powerhouse that even your father Haotian Douluo can't beat. Yu Xiaojiang sighed and shook his head slightly. Tang San, this child, is still a bit too impulsive. Humiliation. I was spit on by over 100 people a few days ago. This humiliation is not much worse than Tang Hao being stripped naked and thrown on the street, is it? But so what in this world of the jungle, there is no such thing as fairness. Can one still use a stick to destroy the sky? P.S. Request tickets, gifts, positive reviews. End of this chapter.